Here are our words to know. Our first word is standard form. Standard form is when the number is written in a way that you would normally see. Our next is expanded form. Expanded form is when you pull apart the number based on place value. And our last form is number word, which is when you write out the number based on the words that it makes up.
What number is shown by the models? Let's think about it. What place value models are shown?
So over here we have hundreds flats, 10 rods, and 1 unit.
The hundreds, tens, and ones are shown. How many hundreds flats are there?
So if we count the flats, we have 1, 2, 3 flats.
There are 3 hundreds flats. How many tens rods are there?
So now we go look at the rods. We have 1, 2 rods in the tens place.
There are 2 tens rods. How many ones cubes are there?
So let's count our ones now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
There are 8 ones cubes. Based on this place value model, you can write the number in different ways.
3 different ways that we talked about at the very beginning of the video: standard form, expanded form, and number word.
One way to show the number is by using the expanded form. 300 plus 20 plus 8 is the number in expanded form.
So let's see where they got those numbers from. They got 300 from the 300 flats. If you count the 300 flats by hundreds, it would go 100, 200, 300, which is where they got this number 300 from. Then we move on to the tens place. Well, they have 20 here. Let's see where they got that 20 from. We go to the tens rods. Well, with 10 rods, we count by tens. So we count 10, 20, and that's what we have for our tens place. Then 8 in the ones place. Well, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ones units. So we have 8 in the ones place.
In expanded form, what does the first number represent? The first number represents hundreds. What is the value of 3 hundreds?
So again, we counted by hundreds, so our value of 3 hundreds is
300 is the value of 3 hundreds. What does the second number represent?
well, we talked about that the second number represents your 10 rods.
The second number represents tens. What is the value of 2 tens? 20 is the value of 2 tens. What does the third number represent? The third number represents ones. What is the value of 8 ones? 8 is the value of 8 ones. Another way to show the number is standard form.
Standard form is when the number looks like how you would normally write it.
The number in standard form is 328. You use standard form when you write numbers in addition and subtraction problems and number sentences. Standard form is the form you use most often.
Now let's talk about where we got those numbers for standard form. The 3 in standard form stands for 300s. If you remember back to the other slide, there were 300s flats. So you would count 1, 2, 300s flats and put 3 in the hundreds place. The 2 stands for 2 tens. If you remember from the beginning, we had 2 10 rods. So we would count the 10 rods up. We have 2 of them. That would make a 2 in the tens place. And our last number, 8, stands for the fact that we had 8 ones units, or 8 1 cube. Put that all together, we have 328.
A third way to show the number is number word form. 328 in number word form is 328.
Now you see with word form, each part of the words that you say is spelled out.
All three ways show the same number. What number is shown by this model? The number 1000 is shown by this model. How can you show 1000 using hundreds flats?
So if you were to count by 100 all the way to 1,000, you would need to spread out the flats 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000.
You can use 10 hundreds flats. The number 1000 is the first number in the thousands. The number word form for 1000 is 1000. You have learned to use 3 different forms to show a number.
We're going to go ahead and practice with some math tools. So I'm going to start with the hundreds. I'm going to put out a couple hundreds flats. Move on to my tens. And put out our ones. So I went ahead and put out our hundreds flats, our 10 rods, and our 1 units. So let's see how many hundreds flats we have. We have 1, 2 hundreds flats. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 10 rods, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones units. When I hit my tabulator, it tells me that my value is 245 here. Now let's see where they got those numbers from. 245 in word form. Now let's see, we have expanded form here. 200 plus 40 plus 5. They got the 200 from over here. We have 2 hundreds flats. 100, 200. Now we move on to the next place, 40. We go to our tens rods because that represents our tens place. 10, 20, 30, 40. And last we have 5. 5 represents our ones place. So let's count up our ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our expanded form is 200 plus 40 plus 5. And that makes 245. Our 2 comes from our 2 hundreds. Our 4 comes from our 4 tens. Our 5 comes from our 5 ones.